That's it. I can't take it anymore. I hate my job.
Oh, come on, it can't be that bad.
Today, my boss made me do all of my work by hand.
That doesn't sound too bad.
I work in an abattoir.
Ouch.
I've had enough. First thing tomorrow, I'm walking into the boss's office and I'm going to tell him where he can shove his stupid job.
Well, hold on, don't rush into this.
You're right. I need the money. My wife's just had a baby.
No. Do quit your job. I'm just saying that first you need to make sure you pick which songs you're listening to whilst you do it.
Do you mean?
Yes. It's time to make an emergency mixtape.
What would you do if you were sent into space? Are you witness the end of the human race? If you're gonna succeed, then you will need an emergency mixtape. Emergency mixtape with Joe and Gray.
Hello and welcome to Joe and Graham's Emergency Mixtape. I'm Joe.
And I'm Graham.
And this is the podcast where we invite our favourite people from the world of comedy and music to help us make a mixtape for every eventuality. And today we're joined by comedian Paul McCaffrey. Hello, Paul.
Hello there.
Hello, Paul. Are you? So this is a podcast about mixtapes and playlists. Are you someone who makes mixtapes?
Not historically, no. I've always sort of been more of a person that people have made mixtapes for. I must have made some, but I can't sort of off the top of my head think when that would have been. But yeah, I've certainly had mixtapes.
I'm very jealous of you being someone that people make mixtapes for. I want to be that guy. I don't. My wife's not a big music nerd, so she wouldn't make a mixtape for me.
My wife really likes music. She's more of a sort of like a rock chick. She's sort of like into Guns N' Roses and that kind of thing. But which I also like. But I must clarify as well. It's not. It hasn't been people of the opposite sex that have been making mixtapes for me.
Right. So they weren't romantic mixtapes.
No, they were romantic mixtapes. God, I was just inundated with romantic mixtapes. No, it was kind of friends and yeah.
It's a real kind of vulnerable thing to do, isn't it? To give someone a mixtape. This is who I am. This is what I'm about.
It's a high stakes situation. Yeah. It can be. You're really putting yourself out there, aren't you? Actually, having said that, I chose the walking music for Sean Walsh's recent tour. He asked me if I would do that.
Wow.
And he was very, very happy with...
What did you choose?
Well, he said he wanted something that was very sort of uplifting. So I suggested the following. Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah over and over again. McCalmont and Butler, Yes. Waterboys, Hold of the Moon. Tiffany, I Think We're Alone Now. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. David Bowie, Everyone Says Hi. Len, Still My Sunshine. Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Talking Heads, Naive Melody. And James Laid.
That's a beautiful mixtape.
It's alright, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very uplifting. I think it was,
And Sean Walsh approved.
He loved it, yeah. So there we go. So that was not that long ago. That was probably a couple of months ago that I did that. So maybe I did make mixtapes. I just don't remember. My memory's not that great. It has to be said.
Anyway, let's get to this week.
Cool.
We're making a mixtape. Graham, do you want to set us up?
Sure thing. So this week we are quitting our job as a part-time singer, part-time philosopher. Dolly Parton once said, 9 to 5 ain't no way to make a living. And we've decided we've had enough. So today we are soundtracking our thought process, I suppose.
Yeah, of getting pushed to the edge of quitting a job,
Yeah.
and then finally breaking free from that job and dealing with the consequences of quitting a job. First track, I think, is from you, Graham.
Yes, it is. Now, I thought, because we had a discussion about this on the way, I thought this was maybe a little bit on the nose. This song is the Job That Ate My Brain by Ramones. And normally what we try and do on this podcast is make something with like a subtle reference or give something like a double meaning. So this is arguably a little bit too on the nose, but I think with Ramones, they always have a real life scenario, but they present it in like such a cartoonish way. You know, there's always this kind of like B-movie side to it. So I think it gets a pass. And this really just encapsulates the dead-endness of a dead-end job.
This isn't it.
And here it is.
That was the Ramones with The Job That Ate My Brain. I was thinking about that. That's one of few Ramones songs that doesn't have 1, 2, 3, 4 at the beginning. Just go straight in.
Yeah, I think the live version does.
Okay.
But yeah, I find with a lot of the live versions, they're compressed. Like about half. Sheena's a Punk Rocker, for example, I think it's about 58 seconds long, the live version. So they need the 1, 2, 3, 4 to set the time. But yeah, that was a bit of a later one where they got a bit more professional.
I've never heard that song before, actually, has to be said. I'm not a huge Ramones. I have the self-titled album with like Blitzkrieg Bop and all that.
Yeah, there's like the big ones like that, like Rocket to Russia and stuff. That was off a later album.
It's called Mondo.
It rocks though. It's good.
Mondo
tune.
Decent,
Bizarre.
right? Yeah.
Very good.
There's something quite when you're in like a kind of dead end job. There's something quite rebellious about listening to music and feeling like it's I go to work, I put on a shirt and tie, but when I'm on my way home, I listen to the Ramones, and I'm not really who you think I am when I'm answering customer service emails.
Oh, I think so.
That?
Yeah.
And I also find if I was to quit my job, I think I'd do it to be in the Ramones. So I think there's a lot of that for me as well.
The line I like particularly is about that shirt and tie, and I remember that was a big motivation for me doing stand-up, was not having to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
So I can not have to wear that shirt and tie, and it's horrible having to. I did a job where I worked as like a tour guide, and I have to put on like a lime green shirt, and it's just a bit of your individuality being taken away every day.
Yeah.
See, I find I'm not the opposite, I would say, but I find I definitely have things I would wear to work, but then I have almost like a uniform for. There's certain things I would definitely wear when doing comedy as well. Like I would wear a lot of elbow patches for some reason. Don't know why.
Yeah, I probably do wear a bit of a uniform for comedy, but it's not a lime green shirt, so I've got rid of those
It's a
shackles.
step up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've had a few jobs where I've had to wear shirt and ties. I worked for a recruitment training company. I think I pretty much got sacked from every job I ever had.
So recruitment training is recruiting.
So it's
people
training people to recruit.
Right. Okay.
And I got the sack because I, out of a possible 50 Mondays, had been absent for 27.
Wow.
So I'd been absent for more than I'd been present for.
Amazing.
Yeah,
For
not
Bob
bad.
Geldof.
Exactly, very much so. Yeah. That would have been a good choice, actually. That's not in there, is it?
It's not. No. It's,
That would have been a fantastic choice.
I didn't get fired, but I worked at the Spinnaker Tower in Portsmouth, and I had to be in the lift, and I'd take people up, and then I'd be. And I remember, so just going up and down the lift hours on end, and but I used to have music on my phone, so I'd take customers up in the lift and drop them off, and if there was no one coming down, I could listen to like 28 seconds of a song. It was just a little bit of escapism.
Ramones would be
on my
ideal
day.
for that.
Or Napalm
Yeah,
Death.
2
Yeah,
songs. Yeah.
Napalm Death, you can listen to what, 14 times in 20
Couple of albums.
Cool. Should we go on to the next choice?
Yeah,
so, it's me next, isn't it?
Yep.
So I have gone for "We Are All Prostitutes" by the pop group. I think this song is pretentious. I think that the politics are very on the nose, and I think that the sound of it is very irritating. And for all those reasons, I really love it. So let's listen to it. That was "We Are All Prostitutes" by the pop group. I heard this on. Did you watch the Punk Britannia documentary?
Yeah, I saw that.
Almost definitely.
It was on that, and I'd never heard it before. And by chance, a couple of weeks later, I found a rough trade post-punk compilation in a charity shop, and that was on it. And I just think it's fantastic. So it makes you kind of pay attention to it straight away. I love there's one of those things where you've got that kind of dead end job, particularly the kind of jobs you have maybe when you're younger, those kind of entry level jobs, and all that kind of the politics you have when you're 18. I wrote a note about it. It says capitalism is the most barbaric of all religions. That kind of very on the nose politics that you have is all kind of true. Like when you're working a job for the man and you're working for the capitalists and the big business, that's kind of how it is. And I think that. I listened to this as a young man and thought, yeah, it's true. Capitalism is the most barbaric of all religions, and I'm working for the capitalists, and it's horrible. And everyone has their price, and yeah,
It was good.
I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well. Another band I don't know. They're from Bristol, pop group.
I don't know. They're British, aren't they? But I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they're.
I feel like they're from Bristol. Is Dave Stewart something to do with the pop group?
I don't know. I may have to fact check and because this song isn't on any of their. I think it's now on a bonus track on the. But it wasn't on any of their albums. But it's kind of the only song they seem to be famous for.
That one is.
Yeah.
It's sort of quite funky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, because I should know this, because I was looking them up before we did this, purely because I thought when we first started listening to it that there was something to do with Captain Beefheart, just because it sounds so much like Captain Beefheart. But the irony being, of course, is that for a podcast about leaving your job, Beefheart famously quite locked his band in in this cabin in the woods somewhere until they recorded this album. So I thought it was
It's like a Mark E.
Wow.
Smith move.
yeah, kind of the antithesis of leaving your job because they were literally locked in.
Wow. So the other thing I wanted to share with you all is that I loved the song growing up. I found online a pop group T-shirt that had Margaret Thatcher doing a V sign and it said "We are all prostitutes" and on the bottom. Cannot wear that anywhere. Where can you wear that in public? But
At a pop group gig.
Yeah, you go to see the pop group, and that's it really.
Yeah.
But on the way there, you'd have to have a cardigan over the top in case you upset an old lady. So that's why I'll never be a punk. I'm too worried about upsetting elderly people on the streets. But I think that for quitting our job, we're sick of our dead-end job listening to the Ramones. I think we're going to get woke as the parlance with this song. I think it's going to make us realise that we're just being used by the man and that we need to quit the job because we're only serving the capitalists by doing this job.
Yeah, I feel pretty convinced so far.
Yeah, good.
Over to you, Paul, for your next choice.
So, my first choice is Go Wild by Culture Shock, and this I would have been listening to. This was the soundtrack to my summer when I was 16, the year I left school, where I was working in Sainsbury's, and that was kind of the time of sort of new age travellers. Was I don't know if you're probably both a bit younger than me. I don't know if you remember this kind of movement. It was a sort of they're all people used to live in buses and caravans, and a few of my friends were part of that sort of movement. A couple of mates that lived on sort of various different vehicles, and in the summer they would sort of go round from town to town having these free festivals.
So I've seen videos of like Grateful Dead fans going around. Is that the kind of thing we're talking about?
No, this was a very British thing.
Okay.
So like the Stonehenge festival, that was kind of, and it would be bands like sort of Ozric Tentacles.
I've seen Ozric Tentacles.
Yeah. So they would perform at these festivals. So it was kind of that was known as sight music.
Right.
So the kind of fashion was sort of like it was kind of punky. So Culture Shock, I would say, are a punk band, but they were very, very involved with the free festival sort of movement and the New Age Travellers. There was actually an album called Travellers Aid Trust, which was kind of like a charity record. And they had 2 tracks on there, Hawkwind, a band called Rhythmites. They were like a kind of reggae band from Bath. So anyway, that's what I wanted to do when I was at that age. I was sort of like that. I was going to live on a bus, and that was sort of and then it kind of disbanded. Rave culture sort of happened that year, 1991, and then when the criminal justice bill sort of happened, it brought an end to that. The last big one was there was a festival called Castle Morton. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
It was on the news. I think that was 1992, and that was the one where it was sort of ravers started turning up. So it was just this massive thing. Hundreds of thousands of people descended on this sort of town, and But what I like about this, to just sort of bring it back to what we're talking about. Sorry, I do tend to go ramble. You know, this to me is a real kind of ode to not being sort of told what to do, not being told how to think, you know, and I suppose it sort of goes along with what you were just saying about that pop group track. It's really sort of like, I'm not gonna bang to the beat of your drum. I'm not gonna work. Ultimately, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And I think it was the sort of song that would make me want to quit my job.
This isn't it. So that was Go Wild by Culture Shock. That's
Yes.
gonna push us over the edge. We're gonna smash it up.
Yeah, it's definitely got that sort of rebellious, like...
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's gonna pump me up on the way to the boss's office to knock on his door or her door.
Which really spoke to me, that as a young man. That was definitely my sort of... I mean, I think I've been sacked from pretty much every job I've had. The last job
You've never quit a job?
The last job I had, which was kind of... I was doing alongside comedy. I quit just because I was at that point where I was like, I think I could probably just about get by without. But that was a part-time thing, and you could choose. That was like charity fundraising.
Right.
So it was no dramatic, which was I'd fantasised about so many times because it was really hard going.
Yeah.
And there was constantly someone looming over your shoulder going, make sure you... They had this thing where you had to ask 3 times. So you'd start off by asking them for £20 a month, then you'd say 10, and then you'd go down to like 2.
Right.
So quite often you'd be on the phone to someone and go like, this person's not going to do £20 a month, so you just go straight in, and they'd be listening into your calls and sort of leaning over your shoulder going, you didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. So I'd had fantasised about going out in a, you know.
I think I remember I was sacked from a similar phone-based job, should we say, back in when I was a bit younger. But it was the kind of job where it was like a revolving door of staff. So I think I got sacked on, say, like the Wednesday, but then it turned out my boss got sacked on the Friday.
Wow.
And didn't have time to process my P45. So I just came back in on the Monday. And, it was like,
And no one knew.
no,
Wow.
everyone covered for me. They were like, oh yeah, he's just been on holidays. So just continue working there. It was
Wow. How long did you continue to work there for?
about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm still working there now.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I used to run a bar in London, and on New Year's Eve there was this guy, Kiwi Paul, who used to work behind the bar. He's a real character, and he'd taken so much ecstasy on like this night where he was working. I'd sent him home. I was like, just have the night off, man. We don't need you anymore. And he was so fucked. He kept forgetting that I sent him home. 10 minutes later, he was back behind the bar. I'm like, mate, what are you doing? He's like,
But look at the time. I've got to be there.
Wow. Right, so we've made up our minds. We're gonna quit our jobs. We've quit our jobs. We now have to work out our notice period. I think the most exciting time in any job quitting process is when you've got a notice period. You're immune to all disciplinary procedures. You can do whatever you want. So for this period, I've chosen P. Diddy's Bad Boy for Life. That was Bad Boy for Life by P. Diddy. I love that song, and it is obviously not written for me. I am not a bad boy for life. I am a good boy. I know who I am. I'm not a bad boy for life, but when I listen to that song, I feel like I could be bad boy for life.
I think that's singularly the most bureaucratic use of that song I've ever heard.
Using it to work out your notice period.
Very much so, yeah.
That's the best part of quitting a job, is you have that 2 weeks where what are they gonna do? They're gonna send you home.
What?
That you're gonna lose half a day's work. So when I worked in this tour attraction as a visitor, the tannoy announcements we were doing in that last week were incredible, and no one could do anything. It was a beautiful time.
I should probably say other public address systems are available.
Is tannoy is that a
brand name?
Oh, I didn't know it was a brand name. I thought that
That's
was
the partridge, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow. I think that Bad Boy for Life, that came out probably the most embarrassing point in hip hop history, where hip hop had really crawled up its own arse and got too much money, and kind of I always feel like 50 Cent was like the point where it imploded and became where all that self-awareness went away. But I think this is one of the good ones from that period.
Yeah, it's definitely got that. I reckon if you watch someone walking down the street with their earphones on and that tune came on, you notice them visibly.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Stand up. It gives you a bit of swagger, doesn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
That is how I'd be walking around last week at the office, with that swagger.
Hands down your pants. Just
Yeah.
That's probably why you're leaving, I guess.
What?
That amazing video of Ben Stiller as well. Do you ever see the video?
I remember that. They're playing golf on the roof, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's P. Diddy being a bad boy, playing golf on the roof, and he's got a scantily clad woman in his jacuzzi, but it's in like a nice area.
Yeah.
And then Ben Stiller knocks on his door and tells him to keep the noise down.
Oh man, I'll have to look that up. I've never seen that.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good video, yeah.
Okay, well, we worked out our notice period, and we're finishing. Last day, it's overdue, Paul.
Okay, so I've gone for 5:15 by The Who from Quadrophenia. Probably, I mean, that film, I used to watch that every day for a while. Such a big film for me at a time in my life, and it has presumably you've both seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never seen it. I love Tommy, but I've never seen Quadrophenia.
Man, it's a must-see film. Yeah. There is a scene in that where he leaves his job. I forget exactly what he says. Like, he goes, "I'll tell you what you can do with that franking machine. That's something, and all that other rubbish I have to go to. You can take that and you can shove it right up your arse." So it's just I just think for me it was a film where, you know, the weekend became the most important part of your life, and it definitely resonated with me at that time. You know, I sort of grew up through sort of acid house and going to raves and sort of trying to hold down a job when you've been out all weekend partying, and this song plays as he's on the train down to Brighton. He's got eyeliner on. He's sort of sat There's quite an iconic shot. He's sort of sat in between these two kind of businessmen in bowler hats with their briefcase, and he's just sort of on these speed pills, massive sort of eyes with eyeliner on, and it's just him totally at odds with the kind of normal world, because sort of being a mod has become sort of the most important thing in his life, and yeah, I just think it really. There was a period in my life where I was watching this film a lot, where the weekend activities were more important than anything else, and it can make it quite hard for you to hold down a job.
It's 5:15 by The Who. That was 5:15 by The Who.
Sorry, when you said that, then I was just, it's the standard joke that when everyone says The Who, you go, The Who? It's
Do you know what? This happened to me, and I was so proud of myself. There weren't enough people around to see it. Where it wasn't 5. It was another Teenage Wasteland was playing at the stand, and another comic, not as a joke.
It's not called Teenage Wasteland.
Sorry, Barrow Rally.
Everyone else thinks it's.
Another comic said to me, "Who plays this?" And I said, "Yes." And I was so proud of myself. But he didn't get he was the only one there, so no one was there to appreciate it.
That's like that Homer Simpson bit. You get that. Is it George Bush is jogging down the street and a dog barks at him, and he goes, "I guess you could say that dog's barking up the wrong bush." And then he goes, "Dog, there it is, the funniest thing you ever get to see." To hear it.
That was me. Yeah. There was one person there to sing, and they didn't get the joke because they didn't know who sung the song.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking.
But I've shared it with you now.
Exactly. Yeah, you found a home for it, so yeah, it's all good.
It's I was interested in what you're saying about being a mod, and that kind of, there's those subcultures which are like a lifestyle in themselves. And when you go to Camden and you see people that are punks, and it's like, that's your job. It's just being a punk.
Yes.
Like how you can't be a punk and have a.
I was having this conversation with someone recently. I wouldn't want to be around as a kid now, because that has completely gone, I think.
Yeah.
And it kind of. I never really got one that I could fully sort of, pin my flag to. Sort of raving and kind of Britpop, I guess, to a certain degree. It had a look that was associated with it. It didn't have a name like mod, punk, Teddy Boy or kind of that. But the pub that I ran with, the Eat Up Kiwi, we on Saturday afternoons we used to have a thing called Sus, which was like 4 hours, and it was like these proper sort of 69 skinheads that kind of like would play ska. It was incredible. Like people would turn up on scooters outside, and some of those guys were fully, there was like this one guy called Skinhead Sean, and he had the kind of sideburns. I remember there was one called Skinhead. They were all Skinhead something.
Right.
Like what they were called.
What's that title?
That was their sort of DJ names. And he had this great tattoo. It was like a skinhead on a cross. And around the outside it had, for the acts of a few, don't crucify all of us. It was kind of like, because obviously the original skinheads were hugely into sort of Jamaican culture.
They're quite lefty, a lot of them.
Yeah. And then obviously the National Front sort of...
I made a complaint to a national newspaper once.
Wow.
Because of a crossword clue. Because the clue, well, the answer was skinhead, and the clue was shorn-headed violent subculture, and I objected to the violent part of it, and wrote a letter of complaint that they don't do anything because it's a crossword. But
that's the least punk thing ever, complaining to a crossword.
Yeah. But no,
but you're right.
But that whole, I think the mod thing's definitely been a big part of. It's definitely in my DNA. My dad was a mod. He went to Brighton in '63 and '64, and I think even though I've never, I know people that are mods. That is, I've never been a mod per se, but I've definitely got leanings that way.
More sympathetic.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm a mod sympathiser, but it's that my style is somewhat moddy, I would say, I think that have you heard Weekender by Flowered Up? Actually, that would have been a great choice.
Stop everything.
So we've left on a train, on the 5:15 train. You made the point earlier, that's...
Yeah, well, I think it's nice that on our last day we've still, if anything, we've probably worked flexi if we're leaving at 5:15.
We'll leave at 5, then 15 minutes to get to the station.
It's true. Yeah, didn't factor in journey time.
Yeah. Our last song is from you, Graham.
Yes, it is. So I wanted to turn this into a bit of a cautionary tale, if anything. I think if you're recently unemployed, you're going to watch a lot of daytime TV, and I don't always necessarily think that's a good thing. So I've gone for Fade Away and Radiate by Blondie.
Fade Away and Radiate by Blondie.
Yes, it was. It's the kind of track I can feel myself sort of vegetating in front of a TV. It's about 3 a.m. We're on to just people selling KitchenAids and things like that now. But yeah, it certainly resonates with me, which it probably shouldn't in retrospect. But
What happened to late night TV, by the way? It used to be.
It's YouTube now, isn't it?
I suppose,
Sometimes
yeah.
you watch things on YouTube and you go, "This is something that would be late night TV."
Yeah.
Watching a YouTube channel of someone playing a video game and talking about it. That's almost something that you get commissioned.
I mean, late
Did you
night.
ever see In Bed With Me Dinner?
With Bob Mills.
Yeah.
And no, I'm aware of it, but I.
So good. I mean, that was on like at 1 o'clock in the morning on like a Thursday night or something. That was proper.
So what was it?
Stoners. It was just a clip show, but it was really good. And then Russell Brand did one very similar, Ponderland.
Oh
Which
yes,
I
I
also
do remember.
really
Yeah,
liked as well.
yeah. No, I liked that.
I thought it
Yeah,
was the best thing he ever did, actually.
it was a little bit kind of slicker than what I've heard. What you're describing about.
Bob Mills.
Bob Mills,
But,
yeah.
But it was just that thing of like getting a clip and really sort of like going into it. Just watch this bit, what he does, what he says here. And it was essential viewing for me. That was really sort of getting home from your mate's house after smoking weed, and then sort of that would be on at 1 o'clock in the morning. But Ponderland, I also thought was excellent. Anyway,
The Stoner TV when I was growing up was Badly Dubbed Porn. Did you ever watch that?
What was it called?
Badly Dubbed Porn.
I remember
No.
badly dubbed
So it
porn,
would be
yeah.
like the kind of the preamble scenes from porn films, and they'd just dub over them with like funny overdubs.
sounds funny, yeah.
And it was really really amusing.
I used to really like The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan.
I love The Prisoner.
And that used to be on the kind of
An
like,
ongoing argument with my wife is I want her to watch The Prisoner, and she won't watch it, but I want her to like it because it is good, and she
So
won't
good.
listen to me.
Did you ever get to do Festival Number 6?
No, I've been to Port Mary,
Oh, right.
but I've never done Festival Number 6.
No, that was cool to sort of walk around there and be like,
Yeah, it's really cool. About a staircase that goes to nowhere. And,
Yeah.
The Prisoner's fantastic.
yeah, it's great.
I think that Blondie song, and I can see what you're saying about how you could listen to it when you're just kind of vegetating in unemployment. And there is a kind of thing in music of the kind of romanticisation of the kind of slacker deadbeat that can kind of make you feel okay with not having a job and unemployment.
Yeah, I would imagine it sells a few records, definitely.
Cool, we've quit our jobs. We're
We have
unemployed.
quit our jobs.
We're watching TV. Hooray! And we've got the perfect mixtape to do it to. We had a few extra tracks suggested by people on the internet. I'll run through them now, and you guys can give me your thoughts. So, Tom Glover suggested, and a few other people have suggested, Frankly, Mr. Shankly by the Smiths. And that's, I listened to that again today, and I thought, that is really. There's this line about I'd much rather be making Christmas cards with the mentally ill. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
That's
I love the guitar in that as well. I think that's probably my favourite bit of Johnny Marr guitar. Ding, 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 bing, bing. Brilliant.
it's the yeah.
Such
The
a
Smiths
good
are
album.
great, and
I
it's
think that's
easy.
their best album for me.
So it's from Queen is Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I switch between them. I also really like the debut album a lot.
37 minutes long. I think that's such a good length for an album. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mess around.
No, it has Vicar and a Tutu, which I think is filler. That's my only criticism of it.
Yeah.
But
It also has There Is a Light That Will Never Go Out.
which is yeah, which makes up for everything.
Yeah.
They were great, the Smiths, and it's so easy to, because Morrissey's become such a dick, it's so easy to forget how brilliant the Smiths are.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll run through these quickly. So James Ross has suggested Take This Job and Shove It by the Kennedys. By the Dead Kennedys.
Yep, I like it.
Good choice. Kishore Nair suggested It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube.
Oh, great tune.
I like the idea of that. That's
appropriate.
the kind of.
Sweet.
I wonder whether that's like a bunking off work song rather than
Is it
quitting
from
your job
Friday?
song. I don't know. What you mean? The song is from a Friday.
Friday the film.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Possibly.
They did work out that they did use maths to work out
I
the
saw
day.
that. Yeah,
it
the
was.
exact day that
Yeah.
it was. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like a viral thing where they like talks about a sports result in the song, and they work out the exact
I
day.
love
that it was on.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
This from Pete Walsh said, I quit my job at Pizza Hut of 5 years to the Rolling Stones Hang Fire. I went back 5 years later to the Smiths, back to the old house.
Nice.
That. Suze Kempner said the theme from The Littlest Hobo. I'm not aware of that.
Oh, what a tune. You don't know it. There's a voice. Keeps on calling
What a
me.
tune. It's always coming on in the clubs.
I'll tell you what, I'm amazed. I've had this conversation when I used to do a radio show on like a local radio. I'm amazed no one's ever covered that.
Right.
Because it is a song that like it's always comes up as like the greatest kids TV theme tune of all time, and it's such a good tune.
You get a lot of them. Like, I mean, who covered Fraggle Rock? That was.
That's another good one.
Yeah, it was.
Scares away.
There was like a ska punk band that covered that. So yeah, it's ripe for a cover, definitely.
Paul Savage said that he got fired from a job and drove away with London's Burning by the Clash playing loudly.
Tune.
We've also got Maggie's Farm by Bob Dylan, and Should I Stay or Should I Go by the Clash.
Specials covered Maggie Farm as well, didn't they?
Yes, made it about Thatcher. Okay, that is everything from us for this episode. Thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Thank you.
Before we go, very quickly, you're working on a new show. Can you tell us very quickly about that?
I can tell you it's called Lemon, and I've just found out someone else has also called their show Lemon, which is a bit annoying, but it's a show about how life doesn't always go your way, so it's kind of on brand.
Cool. Well, thank you for, and do check out Boys. You are a fantastic comedian. I love your work. Thank you for joining us, and if you, the listener, have enjoyed the show, then please rate and review us on iTunes. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. They're both at emixpod. That's at emixpod. Especially if you'd like to contribute to the bonus tracks of future mixtapes. And if you'd like to suggest a situation which we need to make a playlist for, just email emergencymixtapepodcast@gmail.com. That's all from us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm so glad I quit that dead-end job. Now I can pursue my dream.
What dream is that?
Professional podcaster?
Is there much money in that?
I imagine so. I mean, so many people are doing it. It must be because there's loads of money in it.
I don't think there is.
Well, why is everyone making them then?
Well, I think it's just a growing culture of narcissism, really. People thinking that everybody wants to hear their opinions, everybody's talking, but nobody's listening.
Oh. But we're not like that, are we?
No, we're different.
Oh, thank God for that.